What's up, everybody? I do have a rather serious topic that I want to discuss. Before we get going, I do have to let you in on, of course, some good news. Rippaverse.com. We have finally done our little merchandise count, and we've added onto our store all of the leftover items that we can put up for sale, obviously not including the limited kind of campaign items, but the merchandise items have now been added to the store. You can check this out. We are having a merch sale, Rippaverse.com, 15% off on all orders from now through the 16th of December. Now, if you spend $75 or more, we're going to just say it's free shipping. You know, we're wiping out the shipping for all domestic orders. And if you order by the 16th, we can guarantee that's it. That is for the domestic orders. We can guarantee that you're going to get those by Christmas. So the hat's been added, the ISOM shirt, the Rippaverse shirt, the posters, requested items. They are now on that. They're on the website. I don't know why I can't talk this morning. Rippaverse.com. Go check that out. But today, I do want to talk about something. Follow me on Twitter. We've discussed this, and you can see that. Now, we've discussed this really throughout the entire campaign, and I wanted to dedicate a video for it. And this is something that you guys need to be prepared for, because I know there's a lot of inspired people, which is awesome. And it's not just with comics, it's with so many different entertainment opportunities that are now out there, because the means have already been decentralized. What I mean by that is that you can now create and get your work out there to willing paying customers. You can, through various methods, actually afford to do it now more than you ever could have before. You don't have to go through what people deem as the more proper channels in order to, let's say, get a book out. You don't have to do that anymore. So because the means have been decentralized, and you're starting to see the alternative successes, again, can't talk today. You can see that, and you can be inspired, and that is a great thing. But there's a part of this that definitely, if you are presenting yourself as an alternative, that you have to be certainly prepared for, that I don't think a lot of people consider it. I do get emails about this type of stuff when people first deal with this, and this is just the nature of where we're at culturally, especially in the West. And that is, you have to be prepared, certainly if you put yourself out there. So, you know, you have a persona or whatever, this is good. This is not a bad thing to do, to put yourself out there, to not only be criticized, but to also be able to resonate with your audience so they know who is behind the product that they're buying. But with that comes this element of, there are going to be people. You can be the nicest individual ever. You can be a fair, a balanced individual, and it wouldn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. There are going to be people that are going to try to derail everything it is that you have for really little to no reason. That's just what it is. With people like myself, it's a little case of, I'm a very opinionated person. I put myself out there, and really what it boils down to is that I don't think, like, let's say those guys would like me to, for various other topics that really don't even have much to do with comics. Some of it does, but really that's not the crux of what the issue is. It's more of what it can boil down to is, I don't think like them. I'm doing something in an industry that they prefer that I not be in, and therefore they're going to paint me as whatever they need to paint me as in order to try to destroy what it is, or derail what it is that you are doing. Now, the thing about that is not everybody is built to deal with that sort of problem. I'm a very confrontational person. I don't shy away from conflict by any means. You guys know, certainly on this channel, we deal with our detractors all the time. I've had to monetize your hater stuff. Like, I'm built for it, and a lot of other people are. But others, they'd rather just be creatives. And then when they meet that level of like pushback, they don't know what to do, and it makes them feel uncomfortable. And it's sad that it has to be that way, but you need to go into it, and it's easier to deal with if you go into it with the simple fact that, or understanding the simple fact that there are going to be people that don't like you for, again, it can be the most silliest reasons, but it doesn't matter. Now, look, we're going to enter into this age, and a lot of stuff is going to be decentralized even more, not just the means, but the actual creations. That is a beautiful thing. I do think the age of the the mega corporation is going to kind of, for at least for entertainment's sake, you're going to see a lot more entities that are going to be bringing in obviously less money, because they're not acting as like these big IP forms, like really a lot of studios and the mega corporations that act right now. Really what it was is that, well, they were the only ones that could offer the platform, that could offer the amount of money. And that's not to say that those guys are just going to go away. What's going to happen is that because, again, the means are decentralized, you're going to have just more people able to do what they want, able to see their creations come to life and have a direct line of sight, as I use that terminology all the time, having a direct line of sight. That's what the internet introduced with your audience, where you don't have to say, all right, well, I need to get it out to my audience. I need to go through you, who then gets it out to the audience. No, I can say, why do I need a middleman? I'm going straight to you. And that means that there'll be probably more entities. That doesn't mean there'll be less money fluctuating within it. It may be more money fluctuating within that industry, but you're not going to see like just a handful of people just dominate the industry going into the future. We got a lot of work to do to get there, but that's what's inevitably going to happen. So where you fall in that is either as a creative or as a customer or someone that helps the creative or whatever that is. But just understand that for some people, this is way bigger than just entertainment. OK, and I'd argue even for myself, but especially with these folks who played that long game, those folks that are so ideologically obsessed that they can't really see anything existing outside of what exists right now. And as it exists right now, some people get off on having control, even if they don't directly control it. It's just ideological. So the let's say social politically obsessed leftist loves what's happening right now in, let's say, comic books, right? And they'll gaslight you to death. Oh, it's always been this way, yada, yada. And this is why they love when something is created out of spite, or they treat it like it's done out of spite to their ideological enemies, and they get off on that. Well, of course they would. You look to, let's say, their creations, not their creations, but more of what they control, as a form of entertainment that is respectable. And they get off on the fact that, well, you depend on them for that sake of entertainment. So when you go off and do your own thing, you're essentially saying, I reject that, and I am then going to give it directly to my audience. Well, they have so much riding on the fact that everybody's attention is on them. And it's worked for them in terms of pushing whatever weird narratives it is that they want to do. And they need that. That is necessary for everything it is that they certainly have. The fact that all eyes are on them gives them leverage. So anybody that comes in any industry and sees any success, any level of success, small, big, whatever, has to expect some form of pushback from people you probably have never even interacted with. And some of these are going to be cases of people like doing some really, really grimy stuff to try to derail, again, your efforts. But if you go into it with that as an expectation, it's going to be a lot easier to deal with. You might not be a person that is ready for conflict. You better make yourself ready for conflict, because it's going to happen. Now, you can bend over, which is unfortunately what so many people do. They start doing the apology tours or something like that. And like, oh, well, I never meant it to be this way. Like all that sort of stuff. That don't do you any good. They just whipping you into shape and you going right into what it is they want you to do. Whereas I'd rather say, hey, go screw yourself. There's nothing you can do. Your opinions don't actually matter. We're going to make fun of you. We're going to make money off of making fun of you. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And this is why. And when you do that and you see that level of success, they're going to try to ramp it up. Now, for Ice on One, their efforts didn't work. Let's just say that. We made a lot of money, obviously, off the project. People, the vast majority of the folks that got it, like 99% of the people that got it, loved it. They were satisfied customers, let's say that. And there's an outlier or two, but not everybody likes everything. You know what I mean? But the people that, of course, don't like me, we're always going to not like it. They were going to nitpick it to death. That's what you have to expect. But you also need to realize they don't matter, so you might as well have a little fun with it. But for you guys that I understand, like, I'd rather communication not even be this way, to where it's like, well, everything has to be like confrontational, on the nose, and what it is. And if you are a person, look, man, I just want to create, I just want to do my thing. I'm a nice person. Doesn't matter. They're not going to treat you like that, especially if you don't think the way that they do on certain subjects that are important to them, period. So you're a threat. Whether you want to be or not, you are a threat. They're going to see you as that, and they're going to try to diminish every single effort it is that you've presented. So have a little fun, learn to deal with it, talk with those of us that are out there that are seeing some success, but be ready for it, and do not allow these fools to stop you or prevent you or talk you out of doing great things. I do believe we're on the brink of a cultural renaissance. I do. I'm not saying that just to say that. I do believe that we've seen a lot of people that have said, you know what, we've had our complaints. We're going to start becoming a part of the solution as opposed to trying to wait for these mega corporations to change in some way, because you've seen that they're not going to do that. So you've seen myself, you've seen Shadiversity, you've seen the Critical Drinker, you've seen folks that are on our side of the aisle, folks in Comicsgate, you've seen folks just get out there and go do something. And there have been successes to very large degrees, some and smaller, but they're still successes at the end of the day. And there's folks that are just, big shout out to Razorfist, another one. These are folks that are out there just getting out there saying, you know what? Enough with the complaints. Let's just get out there and go do it. We've done that. It's not to say that people that are pointing out the goofiness that's happening in these different industries aren't useful. Absolutely. Putting a spotlight on that is important, but we also got to get out there and create. But you got to be ready, because these guys are ruthless, and they're going to try to do all sorts of grimy things to tear you down, but it's meant to demoralize you. Do not allow these weirdos. Just remember, these are losers that you're ultimately dealing with, right? A lot of these guys have had failures in their own efforts anyway. They don't like to see people getting out there trying to do their own thing. And again, they will gaslight you, right? For me, it was one of those, well, he's so toxic. He can't Isom can't tell on his own merits. They love to had thrown that one out there, when ultimately what that meant was that I was supposed to just shut up and stop doing what it was that I was doing in the commentary space as I was being a creative. And that's not even a thing that they apply universally. We've talked about and covered on this channel, definitely back during the image boom and and Todd McFarlane, how he used to do actual commercials dogging his freaking competitors, and they were perfectly fine with that. But when I did it, even though I technically didn't, because that's not in our trailers or any of our promotional items, we don't talk about that stuff. We make it a point with like the Rippaverse, like actual branding, to not do talk about any of that sort of stuff. We just keep it kind of straight and to the point. Now, me as the individual, I'm gonna talk my talk. There ain't nothing you can do about that. It's not gonna stop. And we don't need less of it. We need more of it, especially for these guys that are getting out there being creators. And really, this is something that was started by way of the creatives that were already in the positions of power. They got drunk on the internet. And so now they've created this kind of, it's not necessarily a domino effect. It's just now what it is. Let's call it what it is. Where people, because you offered your opinions on so many different things, the mystique of Hollywood is completely gone. And now you turn a lot of people off to that would, let's say, be way more likely to like your material because they did in the past. Look, you don't become a mega corporation like what Hollywood is, what these different, like obviously the comic book companies. You don't become what Disney. You don't become that stuff unless you are appealing to people on different sides of the political aisle, period. But the creatives got so drunk on this kind of attention and all that, and being able to present their thoughts to the masses by way of Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is. So they straight up tell you, you know what I mean? People that, maybe you've respected have told you how much they don't like you now because you didn't, let's say, vote in a particular way or you believe in a certain thing. So that's turned a lot of people off. But I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, that people now are actually more mindful of where their money's going. It's like, hey, it ain't about giving money to people that I 100% agree with. It's more about, like, do I really want to give money to people that despise me, like that actually hate my stinking guts and are abusive in the sense that they have absolutely no problem, taking your money, knowing that they rely upon your money, and then getting on a podium and telling you how much you suck, even winning an award based on that material, knowing damn well it was liked by people that they may think a little different on certain subjects. You don't get that big, like I said, unless you do that, which is why I say going into the future, if people are going to be paying attention to that, it's going to be a lot less mega corporations, but that's fine with me. I told y'all, man, even if I wasn't one of the ones that made it on the other side, I welcome the parallel economy. I welcome the decentralized economy. But I want y'all to get out there and be great as creatives. I really do. And I want you to be prepared. Like what you saw with me, and a lot of y'all saw that you get a lot of people that were kind of disconnected from it all. Like, why are these people saying such bad things about this God? It's like, dude, it's just what it is. And I'm all right, so just expect it. But don't let that, this is what I fear. And what I don't want to happen is that people look at that level of like aggressive, you know what I mean, from these weirdos, and they shy away from actually uncovering that gold, that diamond, and being great, all because they're afraid of the confrontation and conflict from the weirdos just jumping down their throats for no reason at all. Screw these people, dog. They're losers. Don't you forget that you are dealing with these pencil neck, out of shape chumps. These guys ain't nothing and never gonna be nothing. Weird profile pictures, pronouns in the box. They ain't gonna do jack diddly, bro. Trust me on this. So get out there and be great. Wherever you're viewing the content, I appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, you may be interested in my comic book company, Rippaverse Comics. Our first book and campaign, ISOM #1, brought in $3.7 million with tens of thousands of satisfied customers. Visit Rippaverse.com to check out our store and stay up to date with the latest campaigns from one of the hottest new comic book companies. Also, my first big step towards a parallel economy was the development of my personal website, ericdjuly.com. This entirely replaced my Patreon. Now, if you enjoy this content, please consider becoming a member over at the website. We have an ever-expanding list of perks for various membership tiers, a forum, and a phone app. Some of these perks will even benefit you if you're fans of the Rippaverse. Anyway, I appreciate you so much for being a supporter and or customer. I even got a little love for my haters.